Hello, and thank you for joining our webinar today. It's the third in a series between ACTE and Accenture to share the Skills to Succeed Academy with ACTE members. Our first webinar provided an overview on the Skills to Succeed Academy, which is a free online learning platform designed to help people build the skills that they need to plan their careers, to get a job, and succeed in employment. The second webinar provided a demo of the Academy. So if you haven't seen both of those yet, go ahead and check those out. Our third webinar covers getting started as staff and contains some practical information and resources to get you started. I'm Krista Tracy. I am the Skills to Succeed Academy lead in the United States, and I'm happy to share more information with you today about the Academy. Here's what we'll be covering. We'll talk through the registration process. We'll talk through support and marketing materials that are available to you. We'll talk about user progress data, filling out a group report, how support works, and making a quick start. Just a caveat as we're going through this, the look and feel of some of these screens will be updated in the winter of 2020, but really the same features and functions will still be available. They'll just have a little bit different look and feel. So let's go ahead and get started. The first topic is registration. So to register for a learner account, you'll have your learners go to s2sacademy.org, not .com. .com is the URL for our UK site. They started 5 years before we did, so they got the .com URL. If you're in the United States, for the US version, you'll go to s2sacademy.org. Then you'll go ahead and you'll select the correct registration option, whether you're registering as learner or as staff. I'm going to show you what the learner registration looks like. The staff is pretty similar. There's just fewer questions to answer. So to register as a learner, on the previous page, you clicked on Learner, and I'll bring you to this page. You'll go ahead and enter your email address. And there may be some learners who don't have an email address, so you may need to help them set one up. It's just a very basic employability skill that you may need to help them with. So they'll enter their email address, enter their password, confirm their password, and then they'll enter an access code. And I'll say a bit more about access codes in a moment. Then they'll go ahead and they'll enter some demographic information. They'll enter the CAPTCHA for security purposes. They'll tick the 2 boxes related to the terms of use and the privacy policy, and they'll go ahead and click the Create New Account button. And they'll know that they've been successful if they get this registration complete page. So a note about access codes. So if your organization is participating in the ACTE Challenge, please go ahead and email Lauren Philibrown. You can see her email address here for your access code so that you'll be using the proper access code for your location. We're going to be tracking usage for your location, so it's important for the metrics as your organization is participating in this challenge to make sure that you have the right access codes for either as you're registering as a learner or you're registering as staff. For all other locations, you can go ahead and use the ACTE General Access Codes. And you can see there's one here for learners, 04ATGL, and then for staff, it's the same, but just with the 9999. And it's really important that you use the proper access code, whether it be for learners or for staff. The reason for that is that the learners will count toward your metrics as they're logging on and they're using the Academy. And then the staff, they have access to additional resources. So just be careful that you're using the proper access code based on who you are and who you're giving it to. And so use the correct access code type, staff versus learner, and also use the correct access code for your location. And there's a general one here if there's not one set up for your organization already. All right, a little bit about support and marketing materials. So when you register as staff, you have access to additional materials. And the first is there are some support materials, and you can get to those up at the top of your screen. When you're logged on as staff, you'll see these extra tabs here. If you click the one that says support materials, there's really just a wealth of information here for you. There's a training handbook. This really contains everything from soup to nuts that you would possibly want to know about the Academy. There's also a quick job aid on preparing your organization's IT. It's just a cheat sheet to go ahead and make sure that your computers or tablets are working properly. There's a module guide and diagnostics. That is a very detailed look at each of the modules, the learning objectives, tips for teaching. This is also where you can find discussion guides for each of the modules to facilitate a class conversation. This next resource here, the Module and Character Reference Guide, I've highlighted that because it's actually one of my favorites, and I think one of the most useful resources that we have on the site. So let me go ahead and launch that and show you what that looks like. This is a great resource for lesson planning. So you can go into this document. It's just a short document, and you can see each of the modules, the learning objectives, the different characters that are in the module, whether it's a performance simulation or character-based CBT. You can also see kind of the amount of time it will take to complete. So this is a great option for lesson planning and figuring out which modules you'd like your students to take or which ones you'd like to introduce to them. So let's go ahead and head back to where we were. And some other resources that are here, there's a planning, prep, and delivery guide along with some checklists if you need that to help plan your sessions. There is just a very detailed document on site navigation. There are also certificates of completion on the site that you can access and fill out and print out and sign and give to your students. There's one at the course level and one at the module level. So I think that this is a really popular feature with a lot of our partners. This here is another resource that you can use for lesson planning. It's even shorter than the one that I just showed you. It's just a one-pager that lists out all of the modules, links to the modules, and just really a one-liner description of what they're all about. So this could be a useful resource for you as well as you're doing some lesson planning. And you will have access to this PowerPoint presentation after the webinar with the links and some of the other things that are embedded here. Okay, so the next tab across the top is for marketing materials. So we have a few things that can help you market the Academy to your learners. We have a poster that you can hang in your classroom or a career center. There's a leaflet that you can print out and give to your learners. We have a social media toolkit that has some sample tweets for you to promote the Academy at your location, and then also guidance for success stories. This is a great resource. We love to hear from our partners how the Academy is going, and this is a way to, this provides some guidance for showcasing either some of your learners or your own experience with the Academy. So these are the marketing materials that are available. Next, we'll talk about individual user progress. So you're wanting to know if, which modules your students have completed. There's a very quick and easy way for them to share their progress with you. So learners on the main menu, they can go ahead and click on the Your Progress signpost, and it will launch a page that will show their progress. So you can see here, these are the modules that have been completed. You can see ones that have not been started at all. And if I had some that were in progress, they would be halfway filled in. Then learners can go ahead and click the email Your Progress. There's just a short pop-up that will, where the learner will enter their name, their email address, and your email address. And then you will receive a PDF of this screen here in your mailbox. So that's how you can find out which modules your learners have completed. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the group report. So in the first webinar, we talked through different ways that the Academy can be delivered, whether it's in a computer lab, a homework, career center. These all involve learners logging on to the Academy and taking modules either in a computer lab as homework or recommended by their career advisor. But what's different is the presenter approach. So if an advisor or instructor presents the Academy on a projector in the front of the class and the group walks through the Academy module together, what we ask is that you complete a group report. And you can find that at that's the third tab here, group report. And it's just very important that you fill this out so that your metrics roll up into your location metrics and the overall ACTE metrics. You'll see a screen that looks like this. And this is where you'll just record a few of the details about your group session. It's pretty quick and easy. It shouldn't take any more than, I would say, 2 minutes to complete. Just a couple of the points here. You'll create one group report per cohort that you're working with. So if you have a cohort that's meeting multiple times, you just have to do one group report for them, and you would do it after the first session that you have with them. One thing to be aware of, again, it's a UK thing. They, in addition to the URL, they also have set up the date format so that it's date, day, month, month, year, year, year. You might expect the date of the session to be July 12th, but it was actually December 7th. So just keep in mind that date format there. You'll go ahead and enter your user access code. There'll be a partner description in the drop-down. And then you'll enter the class size as well as the percentage. So the percentage is the number of attendees that you think will only use the Skills to Succeed Academy in your group session. It will default to 100%, and you can leave it there if you don't think anybody is going to use the Academy outside of your class. If you think that maybe half of the class will, if you provide them with instructions on how to log on, and you think maybe about half of them will take you up on that offer, you can go ahead and change that percentage to 50%. So that was the group report. So if you're running a group session and you're delivering the Academy as an instructor, presenting it at the front of the room, as opposed to your learners logging on and taking modules individually, you'll need to create that group report. We definitely would appreciate that. Next, let's talk a little bit about how support works. So there are a couple of different options. The resources for learners, and I would say that we really partner with our organizations to provide support. So support for learners means that if they have a question about the Academy, they would ask their advisor or instructor. And there are also some great FAQs on the Academy website if needed. Resources for you as an advisor or instructor, again, there's great support material that we just walked through, FAQs. If you think there's an issue with your technology, certainly local tech support can help you out with that. And then if you have questions about the Academy that you're not able to answer any of these other ways, feel free to reach out to our service desk. You can see the URL there. It's contact@s2sacademy.org. And just given our global nature, they are available most all of the time via email. But just to enable you to address the most common issues as they arrive, first would be if somebody can't register or can't log on. You just need to be sure that you're accessing s2sacademy.org and not s2sacademy.com. If someone reports that their access code isn't working, the most common reason for that is that they're accessing s2sacademy.org and not s2sacademy.com. Our access codes in the U.S. won't work on the UK site and vice versa. And also just be sure that you are using the proper access code. If you click to register as staff, you definitely need to use a staff access code. Same with learners. And also just make sure that there are no typos. So those cover, I would say, the most frequently asked questions about logging on. Sometimes people will forget their password. There is a link on the logon page that says forgotten your password, and you can go ahead and click that, and it will allow you to reset your email, your password via your email. You'll receive an email in your queue shortly after that will allow you to reset it. Sometimes people use the wrong access code to register, so a staff might register as a learner, then they don't have access to the staff materials and resources, or a learner may register using the staff code, and that's going to lead to underreported metrics. If that's the case, what needs to happen is to register for a new account. We're not able to switch the account type on the back end. You need to register for a new account, and it has to be a different email address. So for example, if you registered as a learner and not a staff, using maybe your work email address, maybe you can register using another email address that you may have, but it has to be a different one. And then every once in a while, there may be, other issues like the course not working as expected, or the videos don't load, or they're slow. In that case, just make sure that your computer meets the minimum requirements. And you can see those listed here in terms of screen size, and it does require, it has been tested on computers with Chrome and IE. Definitely Chrome will give you better performance, and it's also been tested on tablets using an iPad and an Android tablet, and would definitely recommend using Chrome. And also just make sure that you have a good internet connection. The better connection you have, the faster the videos are going to load and play for you. So next I just want to talk through making a quick start. In the first webinar, we talked about the different ways that the Academy has been used. It's been used with different types of organizations like high schools, colleges, nonprofits, and government agencies. It's been used with really all types of audiences. It's been used with youth, adults, ESL students, learners with intellectual disabilities, senior citizens, veterans, Head Start parents, TANF recipients, justice-involved youth, and adults. It's really been used with all different types of audiences. From a CTE perspective, it's been used at both the high school and the college level, and with nonprofits too. And they've used it with their CTE programs with engineering, automotive, manufacturing, robotics, construction, different types of computer science and IT programs. It's been used with CDL programs, cosmetology and massage therapy programs. It's also been used with CNAs, med techs, and other types of certifications. So it's been used quite a bit on the CTE side, and then it's also been used with other different types of programs, at the high school or college or nonprofit or government agencies. So just to note, we are rolling this out through ACTE to CTE memberships, but the Academy is also once you start using it at your location, other non-CTE programs at your location could use it as well. It's been used with first-year college experience. It's been used with dual enrollment students, senior seminars, high school equivalency programs. It's really been used with all different types of organizations, audiences, and programs. So in addition to using it with your CTE program, you are welcome to use it with other programs at your location as well. And this is just a grid that can help you think through how you plan to get started, starting with thinking through the program or class that you would use it with, who is the audience, which courses you might use the Academy with, like you and your career, getting a job or success in work, and then also thinking through the delivery approach. whether you'll use that computer lab approach where the training is delivered in a classroom setting, but each student has a PC, using the homework approach by assigning learners specific modules, then coming back together in the classroom to debrief it, using a career center approach where the advisor will make some recommendations on some training. The learner will take the modules and they'll follow up with some one-on-one coaching. And lastly, the presenter approach, which we talked about with the advisor presenting on a projector at the front of the class. That was the situation where you need to fill out a group report. So those are the most popular delivery approaches, although certainly hybrids of these and different type of approaches have been used. So just think through, after you think through the different courses or modules that you would deliver, how you would deliver them. And then think through when you'd like to get started and who the owner of that particular program is. So this is just a quick grid to help you do some planning. And we also have these quick start guides that we've developed. These are a really helpful resource for you to share with your learners. And we also have a version for staff that you can use for yourself or to share with other staff at your location. So let's take a look at this first one. So this is a simple one-pager that shares a little bit about what the Academy is. It shows learners how to register. They go to s2sacademy.org. They click on learner registration. And here you can go ahead and you can tailor the, you can insert the access code that you'd like them to use for learners. You can insert that here, and then they'll have that handy. So they'll go ahead and enter the details on the registration page, click on Create New Account, and they're ready to get started. If they're not sure where to get started, they can take the upfront assessment, which will create a personalized learning path. Or if you've assigned particular modules to them, they can go ahead and navigate to those modules. They can go ahead and retake that assessment at any point. They can go ahead and check their progress, and they can share that with you. If they have any questions, they can check out the FAQs or reach out to you as an instructor. And then also there are direct links to each of the modules here. So this is just a really great resource, very, very helpful to help learners get started. We have a more in-depth version for staff. Again, it starts with the registration process, going to s2sacademy.org, clicking on staff registration. You can tailor this to your location by entering your staff access code here before you distribute it to other staff, and click on Create New Account. And then you can go ahead and you can explore the training by clicking on courses and then getting a job. And what we would recommend is that you review 2 of the modules to take a look at one of the performance simulations. One that we would recommend would be SAM and Futuro Systems, Getting a Job Module 17. That's a performance simulation. And then we would also recommend taking a look at one of the computer-based training modules. And here we're recommending Getting a Job Module 10, Test Drive the Car Technique. There are 36 modules in the Academy. You do not have to review all 36 to feel like you're ready to get started with your learners. I would recommend just taking a look at 2 of these modules just to get a feel for what it's all about, and then browsing around the rest of the site. Again, you can browse the support materials, and what I would recommend here is taking a look at that module and character reference guide. That's what I showed you a bit earlier. That can really help you with lesson planning, or you can direct your learners to take the assessment. You can also check out the marketing materials, and when you're done, you're ready to introduce the Academy to your learners. And, in your role, we ask that you help your learners complete at least one module by either registering, using that learner access code and completing one module through to the very last page, and asking learners to share their progress with you. Or if you're doing a group session, you'll go ahead and complete the group report. And if you need any help or support, we have a lot of materials on the site, as well as the help desk that you can reach out to. So again, these are really great resources to help you make a quick start. And I guess that wraps us up. So I thank you for joining today's webinar. I hope that you're walking away with ideas on how you can begin using the Skills to Succeed Academy with your learners to help them build their skills and confidence to plan their careers, to get a job, and once they have a job that they can keep it. And for more information, you can go ahead and visit www.actonline.org/S2S. Thanks again for joining us today.